Hello and welcome to the Lund University International Podcast. On the show, you'll hear from current students, alumni, teachers, and many more special guests as we explore what it's really like to live and study at Lund University. My name is Tim Parker, and I am an International Communications Officer here at External Relations. Hello, everyone, and welcome into this episode of the Lund University International Podcast, where we are talking about interning at UN City in Copenhagen. And today we have a very special guest with us. Welcome into the studio.
Hi, Tam. Thank you so much for having me today. It's my pleasure to be here with you and to be able to share my experience with other fellow students, current ones and the upcoming ones as well.
And Israa, could you tell us which program you're studying here at Lund University?
I'm currently studying Strategic Communication Master Program. I'm in my second year at this master, and this master program is in Campus Helsingborg.
Fantastic. And are you living in Helsingborg as well?
Yes, I do live in Helsingborg.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for taking the train ride to Lund to be here with us in the studio today.
It was almost for 30 minutes, so it wasn't that long. So I would say it's okay.
Nice. And you're kind of a super student with us. I mean, you're a student ambassador on the UniBuddy platform, and you've been an Instagram ambassador on our international Instagram account as well, right?
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I love doing this, to be honest.
Fantastic. And your experience as a student is, it's quite a unique one and actually quite inspirational. So you have landed quite a nice internship. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about that?
Okay, so in my master program, we have in the third semester, I would say it's a really unique opportunity because in some master programs it's not available. So we have like three options to pursue the third semester. Either you take elective courses, you do an internship, or you have a semester abroad. So I'm already abroad. I did semester abroad before, so I was thinking about the elective course is really interesting and nice, but I think that would be my last opportunity to study as well. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking about doing an internship. And so I applied for multiple ones, and I got accepted in one of, I would say dream opportunity for me, because this is the career I want to pursue later on. So it's communications and social media internship within the UN City in Copenhagen with UNDP agency. I work with different teams, different international ones. So yeah.
That really does sound like the dream internship. I mean, please tell me more about it. I'm sure everyone would love to hear.
So I'm currently in the talent development department. So it's called a TAP team. The TAP team is more working with different perspectives, more of HR, talent developments. We have a program called a GPO, which is the Junior Professional Programs. And this is very core program of the UN in general, where they send GPOs to different countries and assign offices. So we're working on this, but my team is mainly working on something called UNDP Careers. So UNDP Careers was the baby of UN of our team, of the TAP team. It was started a few years ago by my manager. He started UNDP Careers, helping to connect all the people who want to work with the UN and to pursue a career in the development field with the UN system, and how does it go. So I'm working on managing the UNDP career, social media, the communication strategy, and everything related. I work with my manager and another graphic design intern. So we both work together on managing LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and we kind of have quite good number of followers on LinkedIn, and the number is increasing really good, and that proves a lot about how many people are interested in careers with the UN system in general. And we are not only focusing on UNDP, but we're focusing on other agencies as well. But it's mainly called UNDP Careers. So yeah.
Wow, that truly sounds like a dream opportunity. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Fantastic. And could you tell us a little bit more about UN City in general as well, for those people that don't know too much about it?
Okay, so the UN City is located in Denmark, in Copenhagen. And it has so many different agencies. I would recall UNDP, UNICEF, UNFPA, UN Women, World Food Program, different other agencies. So all of these agencies are together in the building. So it's quite like a big building with different agencies. And we all work on different goals, on different projects, but all serve like the UN goals in general. So this is the UN city.
Nice. Well, sounds like you're in the perfect place to be for someone who's studying strategic communication.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm really interested to hear about where the other interns and your colleagues come from as well.
Okay, so in my team, TAP, which is like talent development and people programs, this whole department, I would say it's a very diverse. We have like not just the interns, like the management. My manager, he's from Spain, but he has been working in New York, Japan, and different countries. And then the other manager is French, and we have some Danish, and we don't have Swedish, unfortunately, in my team. But we have French, Italians, some people from Jordan and Philippines. This is the team. And for interns in my team, in my small team, it's only me and another intern. She's from Italy, and she moved here to start. So she wasn't living actually in Copenhagen. So she moved from Italy to Copenhagen. And then in the other teams, like connected to my team as well, we have people from Spain and Italy again. But this is the main like nationalities of the interns in my team.
Okay, so it sounds like a very international environment.
Yeah.
All right, so you've come from Lund, a really, really international university. Now you're interning in a super international environment as well.
True.
Perfect. And now I'm thinking you study in Sweden, but you're an intern in Copenhagen. So that's a great example of how this whole Öresunds region is connected, especially between southern Sweden and Denmark. So I'm really interested about your commute and what's it like to work in one country but intern in another.
Yeah, I would say I've been always told you're crazy for doing this. And I always like to see people's reaction when they ask me, like, I have to go back home now. Like, why? Like, you live in Denmark? No, but I live in Sweden. And then, oh, you live in Malmö? Or no, I live in Helsingborg. And then their facial reactions, it actually, I don't know, it makes me happy because, like, I felt in the beginning when I accepted the offer, it was like, it's crazy for me to commute to Denmark because it's almost 2 hours. And I thought it's impossible because for me, someone who comes from Cairo, to go from a neighborhood to another, it takes like 2 hours. So how can I go from a country to another in almost 2 hours or even less? So that was very something looked very strange to me at the beginning. I thought I'm not going to survive the commuting. But I think it's really easy with the Öresund and the other options we have. Because like sometimes when I'm bored or like I don't have time, I take the ferry because I live in Helsingborg and like I live there like 10 minutes away walking from the station, so I can take the ferry and it's pretty cheap. It's like 60 something or 70 crowns. And I will be in Helsingør, like the Danish city, and then I take another train and I will be in my duty station in almost 1 hour and 15 minutes, I would say. And if I want to take the train, it's like 1 hour, 40 minutes or 2 hours to Copenhagen. And I feel it's kind of really easy to do. Sometimes I see delays or like train cancellation, but that's totally fine for me. I feel like it's connecting two countries together. And I wrote a research paper about this before, how important, like the aim behind Öresund is not just like to connect the countries for like, but it's more of like commuting and making the words like an open to all the citizens. So it's kind of like there are no borders between the two countries, even though we still in the borders, but like it's very connecting, I would say, to each other.
Nice. That's really, really good to hear. And I completely agree with you on that point as well. And I'm just wondering, how often do you actually go into Copenhagen? Is it every day? Do you work remotely?
Yeah, so it depends. Like, I think in the first 2 months or 3 months in my internship, we had like important work and like conferences. So I had to go every day or at least 4 times a week. But like in my contract, I have to go twice a week. And then I usually, like currently I go twice and then sometimes I go on Friday because there's a Friday bar where all the interns, people who work there, all the new ones network and mingle together. I would say this is really fun because you get to know people from all the other agencies and from different countries and nationalities. You connect with them and it really helps. Networking there is such a very important thing, I would say, as well.
Fantastic. So every Friday you meet up and have like a mingle?
Yeah,
Wow.
I don't go every Friday though, but usually like we have theme, like we have Latin Friday bar, we had something for the Halloween, we had like the Christmas party, and sometimes we just like casual thing we do. And each agency is assigned Friday bar, so you can like do the Friday bar with your colleagues as well and have fun, and you just like serve some drinks and like have fun, pizza, food, and talk with each other.
Fantastic. Yeah. That sounds really, really enjoyable. Yeah. And now, Israa, I'm going to ask you a question that I'm sure everyone listening is wondering. So that's about how you found your internship. I know it can be really competitive for international students to find any kind of internship, let alone one at the UN. So please tell us about that process.
So I would start a bit earlier from this. I would say most of my colleagues and in my school, when we were like onboarded on the third semester, our university recommended to start searching for internships from early February or March.
Okay.
And I wasn't sure at this time, to be honest, that I want to do an internship because I was very specific. I either wanted to do an internship with an embassy or a UN because I've worked before. So if I didn't do with other things, it will be kind of not useless, but this is what I want for my career. And I thought it's going to be hard for me to find internship within those two categories. So I didn't really look earlier, which is something I wouldn't recommend anyone. So I would recommend everyone to start looking for internships if they want to do semester internship from early March and to be ready from before this with everything. But I started to apply in May and I got my response in June. And I found this internship. I mean, I don't exactly remember, but as far as I remember, I think I found it on Instagram because UNDP Careers, like the social media I'm managing now, they actually post about internships and vacancies every day. So I found that. And I've been searching, like I've been using different platforms, but mainly LinkedIn for finding internships with the UN. And I would say there is like a UN, not a UN website, but like the other, when you search on the internet, like UN Talent, you can find different internships and different vacancies. So I've been surfing the internet for different things, to be honest. I wouldn't recommend focusing on a different platform, but I would say follow everything. That's the main thing. Because I have seen things that are posted on social media and they are posted on their websites too, but you can find them on LinkedIn or somewhere else. So that's the trick. If you look on your LinkedIn, you might find nothing, but if you look on social media or like on the internet, you can find something else. So keep your sources open and like keep surfing the internet for anything you want and just apply as early as possible if you want to do like an autumn internship.
Right. Sounds like fantastic advice. And I can really picture you sitting there surfing on all the different channels.
Yes.
Nice. So, and I'm wondering about the requirements as well. So were you required to speak multiple languages or have previous experiences?
Okay. In the internship requirements, they didn't ask for previous experience as much as of like knowledge and basic experience with like social media and content and communications, and of course to have education and like social science field or communication or things related to the field or like the internship I'm doing. And also they had a language requirement. Of course, English is like a requirement in all the internships, but it's if you speak French or Spanish, that's an asset, especially because those are the two languages of the UN. And if you have other like I speak Arabic, so Arabic is also an asset, but French and Spanish are more like they're the UN languages. So if you have them, that's more required. I speak a bit of French, so I added this to my CV. I don't know. So yes, and that was the main thing required, but I don't know how it goes other than this.
All right, fantastic. And is your internship paid? I'm sure there's people out there wondering.
I can't say that all the internships in the UN city in Copenhagen are paid because I'm not sure. But for UNDP, it's all paid in the UN city in Copenhagen. I'm not paid though because I'm sponsored from, I have the SI scholarship. So if you are sponsored from another agency or anything, you don't get paid. But all the other interns I have in my team are paid. So it's like that.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, that scholarship is so fantastic. So I guess you're not really missing out there as well.
No, it's the same. I would say it's the same amount I get from the scholarship. It's the same amount interns get as well in Copenhagen. So
all right.
It's not a big difference at all.
Fantastic. So, and I guess I was going to also ask about other previous professional experience, but in order to receive the SI scholarship for global professionals, you need to have 3,000 hours of demonstrated work experience, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've obviously had some other experience as well.
Yes, I've worked for professionally 3 years. And before that, of course, I did internships, but I've worked with UNICEF in Egypt. And I've worked with the State Ministry of Information. So I was working in the Minister's office as a communications and sustainability officer. So I've worked for 2 years with that. And then I've worked in a telecommunication multinational corporate in Egypt as well. And multiple internships in Vodafone and USAID and other ones. But I've had work experience before. That's why I was a bit picky when I was selecting an internship, because I wanted to pursue a career in a specific field, so I don't want to drift away from this.
Perfect. Well, we at Lund University are lucky to have you, and so is UNDP.
Thank you.
And as you just mentioned, you had the opportunity to be a little bit picky because you have had so much previous experience, and now I'm really interested into how this internship complements your studies and also your career goals.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say two things. So first of all, the academic part, I would say it's very complementing because I get to work on drafting a strategic campaigns with my company. I've done a lot of work with different governments. We have the GPO, the junior professional programs. We have we had a conference in the previous month, and we were working with different agencies and different governments. I would say most of the world were attending. So I had to communicate with all of them. So this part enforces my academic, the skills I learned in the school and everything. So aside from drafting strategic plans and implementing them and writing and the content creation and everything, I think I'm learning a lot from this part. And on the other side, for the professional career, I would say it's very helpful for me. If I want to continue in the UN field, having an intern or doing an internship in a UN agency, but it's not something useless. It puts you forward on what you want in the future. But professionally, you can doing this internship will help me to get a better job, especially in the international market. If I want to work in Europe or somewhere around, or even back in my home country, I think that would put me forward and to achieve what I want in my career.
All right. Well, it sounds like it ties into your studies really, really well.
Yeah, it's really perfect for my studies. And I get as well the time to, because this internship is not only doing an internship, having an internship semester in the strategic communication master is you have to do as well other academic academic assignments. So I get to write a literature review about either my internship or something related to my thesis or something else, but I chose to write about my internship and I wrote something related to communications and employer branding, which I'm doing in my internship. And I think this is very interesting. I wouldn't have the option to write about this topic and explore my interest in it if I didn't do this internship. So I think the university and this program is connecting both the two words, which sound a bit different from each other, the academic and the professional ones. So they're connecting each other together. And we get as well to do to create a portfolio of our work in the internship, and then another report finalizing what we did in the internship. So we have all these requirements aside of the internship so we can pass and do the thesis.
Fantastic. And that also sounds quite demanding. So you must have quite a bit of time management skills, I would say.
True. And yeah, that sounds a lot. But I actually agreed. Our university actually advised us to ask our managers in the beginning to have 1 day off for our school. I didn't do this, to be honest, but I started to do this at the end with my supervisor. And I talked to him, I have submissions or something. And he was really flexible, I would say. So he gives me days off, or we can work on things earlier. So I think it's really doable to do if you just talk about it.
All right, fantastic. And is there any advice that you would give to our future international students sitting at home, listening to your inspiring story and who want to be an intern as well?
I would say if you want to do an internship in Sweden or within the European Union or anywhere else during your master's program, I think you should start earlier. You should be specific, or at least like search on what the things or the fields you're interested in. I start applying for things and keep an eye on all the companies you're interested in and take an advice, ask people. I think I had this opportunity because I asked she's not a former colleague, she was a person who studied my master program 2 years ago. No, I think now it's 3 or 4 years now after, but I asked her 1 year ago about how did she do an internship in the UN. And she did give me an advice. She showed me her cover letter and everything. And I think that was really helpful to me. So I would say ask people who did similar internships in the field or the companies you want to pursue. Show them your CV. There are so many companies, Lund academic and career centers as well offer like a CV review and cover letters and all of this. Take an opportunity of all of these things available to you. Now it's important to you. And I think don't be afraid of like, okay, you're saying you're international, you're not European or anything. You can't get an internship in outside of Sweden or somewhere else. I think you can. It depends on like the company and how you negotiate it. And I think you should just give it a try. And if the position sounds a bit big for you, but you have the requirements or like at least you meet some of it, don't be afraid to apply for it, to be honest. Just give it a try.
Fantastic. That's really inspiring advice. And I also have another question for you, Israa, about coming from outside of the European Union. In the first place, obviously, you need to receive a residence permit to study in Sweden. How does that work when you're doing an internship in Copenhagen? Do you need a separate residence permit with the Danish government?
I can't say I need or I don't need. I will just speak about my personal experience. So that means it might be different from my experience will be different from yours or like you from your company as well, because it differs from a company to another and a person to another. So my experience is, and I was really afraid from this thing. I was like, I thought at the end, I'm not getting this internship because just of my residence permit. But it wasn't the issue, to be honest. If you live in Sweden, and that was just my case, and commute to Copenhagen, I don't think you would need that visa. But this is what happened to me. So I had to talk with how to say, like the migration or like the team who's responsible for sponsorships and visa in my office in the UN system. And they asked me if I have the Swedish permit for my studies in Sweden. And I will live in Sweden. I don't need to have like a Danish permit or anything, even though UN offered to sponsor my internship at the end as well. But I didn't want to leave Sweden, to be honest. So I wanted to stay here and commute. So they offered me to leave and just like have another internship permit in Denmark for 6 months for my internship. But I rejected this and I told them like I have my student permit. I want to commute. And they issued me a commuting card from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Denmark. So it's just a commuting card I have, but it's not a work permit or anything. So I think it's possible if you live in Sweden and you commute to Denmark. And I think I would advise you ask like the Lund migration office here and of course the Danish one. And with your company and you reach out a solution for that. But I think it's possible.
You're right. That's really good to hear.
Yeah.
And was there any other parting words you would have about your internship or your time here?
I'm really enjoying it, to be honest. I didn't plan for all of this that much, but I think my program here and everything I'm doing, my life in Lund, I think changed me a lot. I've learned a lot of things. I've met so many new people. And I think I've seen a lot of opportunities that I thought it would not be open to me.
All right, Israa, thank you so much for coming into the studio today and sharing your inspiring story with us.
Thank you so much, Dem. It's my pleasure. I'm always happy to give back and to share my journey with all the students here. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Lund University International Podcast. If you're interested in learning more about Lund University, you can go to our website, lunduniversity.lu.se. You can also follow us on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, and X. and you can chat with current students on UniBuddy. Don't forget to subscribe, and we look forward to bringing you a new episode very soon.